everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics, Big Baby and Star Crasher at KingComics.CA. Check out my other videos on YouTube. My channel is KingComics2021. Check out my Instagram, MaximusRex13, and Facebook, MaxRex and or Big Baby. So today, guys, it is Eric Larson Day. We're looking at the next issue of The Savage Dragon from the 90s. We're now in the mid-90s. This is issue number 25, January 1996. This is a double-sized issue, I guess, to commemorate the anniversary of hitting the 25. It's pretty common in comics that you celebrate issues 25, 50, 75, and 100. Good reason for some extra promo too, I guess, as well. And what's special about this issue, once again, it's double-sized. But what I think happened here, we'll go through the comic, but I think maybe Eric Larson started writing the story, got the story written, kind of laid out for issue 25, and then realized, oh my god, it's issue 25. I need to do something a little bit special or different, right? And so what he did is basically, instead of adding to his own story or whatever, he wrote another story, still related to the dragon, obviously, and to the series, and had it drawn by another artist. So when we get to that, we'll go into more detail about what's going on there. But I feel like he's done something similar to that I've done with my own series, Big Baby. Pretty soon, when we're in around 400 subscribers right now, when we hit 500, I'm going to be putting out the video. I've already put out Big Baby issue 1, Big Baby issue 2 in the archives. If you want to check them out, if you're interested in my stuff and what I do. But then I'll be doing Big Baby number 3 once we hit 500 subscribers, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But basically, I had written out and started drawing out the story for issue number 3 of Big Baby, and I had issue 4 kind of set and already had my layouts and thumbnails. I was a bit ahead on that too, and then I realized that the issue was coming out in December, and you know, just as kind of a promo thing, I could maybe use that to my advantage and market it as a Christmas issue, which I did. And the only Christmas aspect to it was the fact that the cover was, you know, Christmas or Santa Claus themed. And like I said, when I do the review, you'll be able to see that, and I'll talk more about it, obviously in detail, but it was just a marketing scheme. And basically what I did is I took issue number 4, you know, drew it up and put those 2 issues together and called it a double-sized anniversary Christmas issue, whatever kind of promo marketing was behind it, right? So anything you can do to sell books is the idea. So I guess Eric Larson here, that's what he decided to do. Pretty cool cover here that definitely demonstrates what we're going to be seeing on the inside of this comic. Mighty Man beating the crap out of Savage Dragon, but you'll soon understand why. If you've seen past reviews, you'll probably know as well what to expect if you've been following them anyways. Pretty cool cover, pretty striking. I always wondered, like, sometimes, you know, these emphasis lines, I think, work well in the background. I don't know how well it works when they actually are kind of like layered in. Maybe you do more of them or something. It's almost like there's not enough of them. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm not saying it's horrible. I just don't know how well that works, layering them, you know, foreground and background. Not sure on that. I mean, maybe you'd look to manga comics for a better example of that. The fact that the line kind of ends here, I just think is weird. So I just feel maybe this cover would have been better without any of that, or maybe just some of those lines back here, more in the background, right? Or up here or something. Anyways, still a pretty striking cover. Let's have a look inside. So Eric Larson, creator, writer, penciler, inker. We know that. Chris Eliopoulos, letterer. And at this point, the colors are by iHawk, who I will commend, because I think we're in a kind of good period now where the colors are looking pretty good in Savage Dragon. The different types of modulations aren't too overdone, I think, color-wise. The covers are bright enough, as opposed to the kind of teen issues where those covers were kind of dark and murky. And so, to be honest, as an anniversary issue, not anything super exciting happens in this issue. It's not one of the more exciting issues of Savage Dragon. And there's a lot of kind of recap and setup going on, which is fine, right? But I'm just going to right off the bat say it's not the most exciting. Art-wise, though, there's always some good stuff because it's Eric Larson. I love this montage of heads here. The Fiend, particularly here, I really like the treatment, the dark, kind of thick line all the way on the contour and the finer line on the inside details. I think looks really good. The angle too, the inside of the mouth, all that, just really cool. I feel like Michel Fife probably got something from this and uses some of this aspect of inking in his work. I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but I feel like there's a bit of a Copra vibe to what Larson's doing here. And of course, not that Larson's copying Copra. It would be the other way around. I'm not, again, I shouldn't use the word copying, taking inspiration from. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, so right off the bat, boom, we're right into the action from the cover, kind of continuing, I guess. It's almost like the cover is the first panel of this sequence. And what's interesting on the inside is he really goes nuts on the blood, right? And you can see that it's Mighty Man beating the shit out of Savage Dragon. So yeah, it's pretty graphic, but as we've probably already guessed, and you know, this is necessary, right, to reset his bones, as he was broken up by the Fiend, right? That's what the recap was about a few issues ago, and thrown down a smokestack and healed all crooked and stuff. So Mighty Man has to kind of come in and help and break all his bones again so the doctors can reset them. It's a pretty interesting idea. It's like Wolverine, but twisted, I guess, is how I'd put it, right? So the healing factor, you know, if Wolverine, you know, gets his head twisted and neck broken, well, if no one moves it back into position, it heals that way or something. So like he can get back up, but his head's backwards, and then it's got to be reset and broken again. Ugh, it's a pretty, like I said, it's Wolverine's healing factor taken to a really kind of gross body horror extreme, which is fine because I enjoy that stuff, and Larson's really good at it. So we're back here. So okay, the events of Dragon, the hospital, all that, and then we're back with Mr. Johnny Redbeard here, who I definitely feel like, I love the framing on this panel with the hair and it's just over his face, and just this panel is great here. And you know, I could almost not guess that was Eric Larson. I could think that's a million different artists. Very Walt Simonson is what I'm seeing here, actually. And I know that he's definitely one of Eric Larson's big inspirations, and along with Kirby. But yeah, that's a very, I just realized it now, very Simonson kind of look there in the inking and everything. Very cool. Maybe that's the inspiration, I would say, overall for the look. Simonson and Kirby very strong with Johnny Redbeard. So Johnny Redbeard, from what I can ascertain here, is that he's just basically got the power to give people powers. So what he's doing here is helping out this crackhead and turning him into like a super powered villain, I guess. It's an odd sequence, but then yeah, so Bludgeon is reborn, and I mean, if the name Bludgeon refers to the way the design of this character, then it's absolutely dead on, because it's just, oh my god, it's like, I do kind of appreciate the somewhat more old school face and maybe Kirby Starlin kind of influence there, kind of a Thanos dark side kind of thing, but then to add all these like cybernetic parts and gauntlets and stuff, it's like, this is the height of like 90s excess. You know, Larson, I think, is doing it tongue-in-cheek, is doing it on purpose, obviously. I do think that the name, he's conscious of it, is like the design of the character just bludgeons you. I feel like that's the intent. So 90s. Like, I could see this also, this design in like a Superman comic or something of the period. Like, this guy would fit anywhere in 90s comics. Independent little guys, you know, that Vendetta comic. Yeah. So really noticed as I was going through this artistically, this page and the textures are really fun. So the plastic, right, the kind of reflective look on the plastic bag holding the blood, kind of using the same sort of lines but choppier for the pillow texture, which works. The screen tone down here for all the plaster that's been applied on Dragon, and even just these little tick lines I call to kind of give us the texture of the plaster. All of that is just amazing. The bed, right, kind of reminiscent of the pillow, obviously, but like this sharp kind of angular line. Even the little bits of different texture he adds to, I guess, the bed or whatever it is he's laying on there, the plank. Just all of it, so it's perfect. The texture on her butt, I don't want to get too weird, but like just the hatching here. This is also kind of some material, could be similar to maybe the way the bed folds, so there's somewhat of a recall there, but it's a bit softer and rounder because it's meant to represent leather. Just all the texture work in this illustration alone is just amazing, and I right now am focusing and paying attention on it, trying to soak in this idea of, you know, making sure your textures are varied and different enough so they're split one from the other, right? The curls and the hair, same kind of deal. Even added some white medium down here. And just every texture is vastly different, except when it needs to not be. In the case of, say, you know, the leather kind of material here and the bed sheet, there should be a similar kind of look to it, right? Because they're both materials and they kind of fold the same way, but they don't reflect the same way. It's just, this is a masterful panel, okay? Pay attention to everything that's going on in here. Those of you who like are working in comics and want to just create solid, evocative images. I could spend a lot of time just pouring over this. All the little details of the strings holding them up and whatever, like, just love it. Even the foreground and background rules, all of that applies here. Yeah, Larson's a master. So Rapture feels bad, obviously, you know, for having shoot him off, and now she's back to talking to him about getting it on. And Dragon's like, "Give me a break here. I'm still in the cast." And we move over to this happy looking fellow. "I'm in charge. I'm the strongest. I'm the smartest. Give me one good reason that I shouldn't be running the show." And I liked the answer here. "Because you're an ape with an exposed brain, for Christ's sakes." "Because you smell and nobody can stand to be in the same room with you. Because you're argumentative and belligerent. Because you want to junk all of the infrastructure that Overload set up and start over. He put many things in place and we'd be foolish to toss it out the good with the bad." Right? So he's basically giving him all these reasons. He's like, I said one good reason. So this goes back to issue 1, I believe. Yeah, so this is the girl, Amanda Mills, who in the first issue, Savage Dragon and Star kind of save, right? Both of them. And she just keeps hounding Dragon. I guess clearly she wants to get in his pants, right? Like all the ladies do. Dragon's a pretty popular fellow. And all of a sudden, this is a pretty funny sequence if you know. So this gentleman, Peter Clapton, walks in, who's actually Star, right? That's a secret identity. So he walks in. "Dragon, I've got to talk to you." "Peter, glad you can make it. I believe you've met Amanda." Like the face says it all. He's so happy that he's popped in now because he clearly has figured out he can pawn her off on Peter or Star. "Miss Mills, this is international recording artist Peter Clapton. And while I can't tell you that he is the superhero you know as Star, I sure can't tell you that he isn't." "Oh my God, Peter Clapton? Yeah, I gotta go." "No, don't." So she basically, you know, she's figured it out because it's pretty obvious from what Dragon said. Wouldn't say she's figured it out. She's heard it from Dragon. "I'll tell you what, here's my address. If you see Star, give it to him. I have a skylight over my bathroom. Nobody would have to know." And I really put emphasis on this because we're going to get to an interesting page at the end of this issue that kind of harkens back to this moment here. And let's not forget that, you know, Peter Clapton, you know, similar to Peter Parker, somewhat. He's also Star, who's kind of Spider-Man-like, I guess, as a character, right? See where I'm going with this? Hint, hint. Just an interesting choice in this kind of villains bar that they've got a head mounted on a... Is this like, is this a callback to something that happened in a past issue I may have forgotten? If it is, please, and you know, let me know in the comments. But, or is that just randomly like, hey, these guys have just this guy's head, you know, mounted on the wall? Also, this has got to be a callback to Sin City, right? Nancy dancing here. So I feel like that's Nancy, and the kind of white medium he's added here in the black, just like that shot of her dancing in the actual Sin City comic, all the smoke and stuff from the people in the bar. Definitely a reference. So cops and super freaks fighting. Dragon's in hospital, right? So the cops are having to pick up the slack. Not quite sure what the sequence is meant to, you know, he was going to surrender and they take him away. Don't kill them. Dead cops are lousy hostages. All right, so that's got to be a subplot for soon. Next issue. So Alex shows up. She's telling Dragon, come on, man, we need you. Once again, it's a common theme in this comic. Dragon's been beaten up. He's in the hospital, and Alex has to, like, tell him, you know, we need you. You got to get out of here, you know. And, of course, Dragon is healed up a lot quicker than most people think. We've seen this before, right, where he just busts out of his cast. Boom, second time. I don't know if it's me or is there something in the art here where, you know, almost where Larson's taking the opportunity of this issue, this anniversary issue, to kind of, if not in the storyline, kind of shake things up too much, where, like I said, we're just kind of doing catch-up stuff and set up for next issue. Artistically, I feel like he's almost going for something a little bit different with the depiction of the dragon here than from, like, I guess the first 24 issues. It's almost like he's simplified it a little bit more. He's comfortable. He's got his proportions down, and he's, you know, it's almost a more of a cartoon Bruce Timm kind of feel to the headshot here, and just the rendering's a little more simplistic in a good way, like a little more clean as well. So maybe just for this shot here, but we'll see as we move on throughout the series. Using that screen, the whole shitload of screen tone for the ceiling there, which is genius, and I think it looks good. Adds great texture. Larson is just a master texture. Every page, right? Bit of blood down here still, you know, the plaster. Texture is the key. More screen tone. I'm going to point it out because there's some great use of screen tone here. This guy just gets, like, these rods are penetrating through his head, and what those are the arachnid's arms, right? His little spider arms. Yeah, really going crazy. More of that screen tone over here. So setting up something with arachnid there. We'll find out in the next few issues, I guess. Yeah, I feel like there's just something a little less gritty and more simplified, almost like Dragon's been rejuvenated from this latest healing process, and he's shiny and new, and so Larson's inking him more cleanly instead of sharply. Might just be an impression I'm getting, but so Dragon, great shot of him here with the guns, you know, typical Dragon action, getting out there, kicking some ass, and this guy here, I'm Mendoza, the new captain. Drop the hardware and follow me. So Dragon's like, what? I've got a job for you. What is it? Boom, paperwork. You can't be serious. Dead serious. Until anything urgent comes up, deal with this. And this is the last page of the Larson portion, at least art-wise, of this issue. And if you don't know about it already, I'll point it out. This is an infamous page that Eric Larson basically recycled, because that Amanda Mills character does look very similar to Mary Jane, or the way Eric Larson depicted Mary Jane in Spider-Man right before he left Image Comics. And basically he repurposed this page from the Spider-Man series, right? Didn't change Mary Jane or anything, changed the coloring, obviously. And then just swapped in Star here in her bathroom for Spider-Man. So if you go to that Spider-Man issue, it's during the Sinister Six, Return of the Sinister Six. I don't know which issue exactly, but you'll have this exact same page there. Because I'm moving, guys, all my comics are in boxes. If I had easy access to the comic, I would have pulled it out, but you can check that out on Google for sure. And I've seen it talked about on Facebook and stuff, right? That's where I found out about it. But like, there's just something weird. There's another sequence earlier, I think, in the series where he did that as well. And you know, it always, in those early issues as a kid, those pages bugged me. Like, I was like, I've seen that before. There's something, why are these pages, you know? And I finally figured out years later, well, Eric Larson stated it, that he just basically recycled those pages. All right, so this pretty much still in continuity, just not Eric Larson drawing it. So maybe it was more of a deadline issue or something. Or it really feels to me like he had two separate issues, you know, written. Then he realized issue 25, decided to combine them together, but maybe figured he wouldn't have enough time to get this drawn and get it all done. So he got commissioned other artists to do it. And basically, you know, Eric Larson just scripted this story. It does relate to the last issue, right? But it does go a little bit off the beaten path. And because Keith Giffen, is the plotter. Rest in peace, Keith Giffen. Love that guy. And is a big crapload of his work. And here he's just the storyteller, so that means he did the layouts as well. Jeff Matsuda was the penciler, and Terry Austin, surprisingly, from Marvel Comics fame, is the inker. So yeah, like I said, because it's not Eric Larson centric, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. But basically, Super Patriot and Dragon, you know, will end up facing off against some fart-based character, which is kind of hilarious. The Jeff Matsuda art is like, you know, he was discovered by Rob Liefeld, and originally kind of drew in a somewhat extreme Rob Liefeld kind of style, but then kept evolving and worked into his own style. And I do think he was one of the more gifted kind of, you know, Rob Liefeld clones. So he's already kind of shifted away from Rob Liefeld here, maybe a bit more kind of manga or Art Adams influence that I would say that I can see here in this character, kind of like Mojo. It's the Terry Austin inking that I don't think necessarily complements Matsuda best. You know, he did ink a lot of Arthur Adams, so maybe the idea here was to kind of recreate a bit of that vibe there. Yeah, I just don't feel the inking and the penciling really work that well together. Matsuda would have probably benefited from a better image style inker on this. It's not horrible, but it's just, yeah, it feels like a Marvel ink on top of an image style. It's a little weird. But yeah, so meet this character. I don't know if they give him a name, but basically farts on the dragon and Super Patriot, right? Poot, Bronk, Fruit. Some interesting frap. That's some interesting sound effects. So this guy actually flies off a fart here. Is that what's going on? What an odd character. But again, I've talked about this before. Erik Larsen does have a lot of, bodily function based characters, right? And I do kind of enjoy that because I also have a few characters like that in my series. So it's the juvenile humor side of us, I guess. Thought this shot was really cool, right? Sometimes we forget, like, it's okay to sacrifice a big part of the page to the actual explosion because it's storytelling and that's what's important, right? And then to have some hyper detailed buildings down here really adds to the scene. This is a great splash page. There's no characters, right? But coloring, I think, is pretty good too. It's a great shot and a great explosion. Well done. But yeah, that's, like I said, I'm not here to spend too much time. Good Jeff Matsuda art. You know, I originally as a kid, if I'd bought this issue, double-sized issue, and this is what I got, I would have been pretty happy. It's still kind of an in-continuity story, right? I feel like the art gets a little better by the end of it, in a weird way. Well, there you go. So okay, now I understand. I've seen this cover before for this issue, and I understand where it comes from. So it's like this variant cover, I guess. You could probably get it with this cover or the other. Oh, are there credits in the back? Oh no, okay, they were smart. I'm just thinking, at the printing, they would just have to flip this around and it could become the cover. But yeah, that would mess up the credits page, I'm sure. By the way, this issue had an alternate cover, and here's what it looked like. Now you don't have to go buy another copy or anything. And no, there's no truth to the rumor that one version has the dragon without his undies on. You people. Every page in the issue you're holding is exactly as they appear in the other version. Collect both if you must. My conscience is clear. But also this. Now you don't have to go buy another copy. There's no truth to the rumor that one version has the dragon without his undies on. You people. Obviously, there's no way there could be that rumor because this, as this is printed up, this comic comes out. Clearly just, some Larsen humor there. Cool cover. I think the art on the cover is better than on the inside, for sure. You definitely put a lot more effort into that. But a sign of things to come with Jeff Matsuda because he would really grow into a really awesome artist. All right, guys, there you go. That is my review of the Savage Dragon issue number 25. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments below. If you're still watching and you're subscribed, thank you so much for still being there. Really appreciate you guys checking out my vids. If you're watching the videos but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It really does help the channel. Honestly, it's a small gesture from you that helps get us out there to other people who are like-minded addicts of comic books. So everyone out there watching, thank you so much and have an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe!